Have you ever wondered if the disciples just made up all this Jesus story through the four Gospels? I was just thinking, if the disciples had to lie about this Jesus story through the four Gospels, why would they lie about themselves by putting all those embarrassing stories about themselves? Like, for example, just try to remember the last time you have lied or somebody has lied just to make yourself look bad in front of others. Let me explain you why I'm saying this. If you read the Bible, you would find a story where Jesus says, once a shepherd was walking along with his sheep on a hill, and suddenly few robbers came to attack the shepherd, and the sheep scattered in all the directions. They ran away in all the directions. That's exactly what has happened when the soldiers came to capture Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane. The disciples ran away, they fled away in all the directions. In fact, in the book of Mark, there is an incident which says that one of the disciples, he ran away naked, leaving behind his linen cloth. There's a very funny story in the Bible where the gospel writer writes that John outran Peter on their way to the tomb early that morning. I mean, why was that necessary? What would we do by knowing that John outran Peter on that race? There's also another point where the gospel writer mentions that Jesus calls Peter as Satan. I mean, if they were about to write a false story, why would they even put this instance where their own master was calling them as Satan? All these disciples, they used to eat, sleep, walk with Jesus, and yet they did not even believe that Jesus would resurrect from the dead. And that's why in the Gospels, the disciples wrote themselves that it was not men who went to the tomb early in the morning, it was the women who went to see Jesus early in the morning. And not only that, even after Jesus resurrected from the dead, when he showed up among the disciples, they doubted on Jesus. They were like, I have to touch you in order to know that you are real. I wonder, why would the disciples put all those embarrassing stories about themselves if they are actually lying about all this Jesus story? They could have just said that it was the brave man who went to the tomb early that morning. It was the brave man who fought the soldiers when they came to capture Jesus. I mean, if anybody who would be lying, they would never write such embarrassing stories about themselves. But the disciples chose to write all those embarrassing stories in the four Gospels because they were actually writing the truth. They know that whatever it was, whether they have failed multiple times, since that was the truth, they have to write it down. And that's how I understand that the disciples actually wrote the real truth through the four Gospels in the Bible.